The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win Make Give podcast network.
Welcome back to another episode of the 15-Point Plan podcast. My name is Ryan Gregg, and as always, I'm here with my amazing co-host, Jacqueline Smith. The goal behind this podcast and the goal behind the 15-Point Plan, Jacqueline, is simply to have a system, right? It's this system that when you follow it, when you track it, when you continue to build and grow with it, it is going to give you more energy and it's going to give you a little less stress in your life, right, Jacqueline?
Absolutely. I think it gives us more capacity to really live life too, And so that's been something on my mind, as I've improved my health, as I've improved my habits. It's like your world can keep growing with you, which kind of leads into what we were going to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that you use that word capacity. It reminds me of one of my favorite, and maybe our shows. Gosh, I mean, we've had so many cool guests, but Raquel, who spoke
Yes.
about emotional capacity, that one had a lot of hits. If you haven't heard from Raquel in our past episodes, jump into the 15-Point Plan, search that name, RAQUEL, emotional capacity. Over the last couple episodes, we have been talking about this somewhat insane journey that I have coming up, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in March of 2026. And we've realized that climbing mountains physically is it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. But ultimately, what this means is that, Jacqueline, we got to focus on the mountain within us. And it came up, this topic of a really cool book that you recommended called The Mountain Is You by Brianna West, right?
Yeah, and I actually read that book like a couple years ago now when it first came out, and it's such a good one. I mean, one of the gals on our team, she kind of reminded me of it a couple weeks ago because she mentioned she was reading it, and then it just kind of brought it back to mind again. And when you were talking about your journey with climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, not just one time, but 2 times and the whole thing, it just reminded me of like this time of the year as we're setting goals for next year and evaluating so much. I feel like this is such a deep, at least for me, I tend to reflect a lot this time of year, and I really enjoy thinking ahead to what's possible. And that book talks about different ways that we have to overcome like our own mountain that is you. Like you're really the one that puts the limits on yourself and what you're capable of. We're the ones that decide who we are and our identity, and we're the ones that, I mean, it's just like we bind ourselves or we build ourselves, and it's all through our inner game, I guess, or our inner thoughts, our patterns, our fears, our all of that. So I don't know about you, but I've been thinking about this stuff a lot this time of year, just going into goals next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Like as we wrap up a year and we have one of those calendar markers where a year comes to an end, we tend to often review the year. We tend to look into the next year, which often means we're looking at our goals, hopefully, right? Like October, November, maybe we're reflecting on the previous year and we're going into the new year. And hopefully we get out of the comfortable stage of thinking, well, I did this. Like if you're in real estate, I closed 20 transactions last year. I helped 20 people buy or sell real estate. Like I could probably do that again next year. Like that's pretty comfortable. And one of the things she talks about is just this idea of being afraid to change and being our own biggest enemy of self-sabotaging ourselves, getting into the zone of comfort. And we know that comfort leads to a lack of growth. And so she talks about right off the bat, just the idea of self-sabotage, the idea of comfort. And when you have too much comfort in your life, it's really going to prevent you from growing to maybe what your capabilities could lead you to. And so that's an interesting thought of this idea of us just being in our own dang way. Like how often do we get in our own darn way, whether it's mentally or physically or what we've come from in the past or what we've done or what our stories are. And I just really love this topic. I heard this other quote, Jacqueline, recently that it's kind of a side trail here, but I think I'll bring it back. It was a conversation with Gary Brecka and a gentleman named Peter Crone. Have you ever heard of Peter Crone by chance?
I feel like I've heard that name, but I don't know from where.
So he's one of the world experts in mindset and breaking your stories, right? And Gary
Mm-hmm.
Brecka is one of the world experts in like biohacking, like longevity and really scientific biohacking. And Gary said he quoted somebody and he said, "When a fish gets sick, you don't treat the fish, you treat the tank." Right? Like, and if anybody's ever had a fish tank, they know that like when a fish gets sick in your fish tank, you don't go in there and like grab the fish and like scrub the scales off the fish. Like you have to treat the tank. In other words, you have to treat the environment and how that relates to us as humans. And in this mountain is you idea is we got to get out of our own way and change up our environment. Stop doing the same things, listening to the same things, being around the same people. And I
Mm-hmm.
really thought about that quote of like treating our environment when we're trying to have these breakthroughs and looking at that and what that might mean. Who are we around? Which, if you look at the plan, like what are our influences? What are our
Yeah,
influences and how can we change that so that we can change who we are? I thought that was an interesting correlation.
that is interesting. I just had a coaching call actually, and we were talking about, the concept of be, do, have,
Mm,
and how, the point is like in order to have the things that you want, you first have to be the kind of person that has those things. And those people do certain things, right? They have certain habits, certain ways that they think. And a lot of times we just want to skip, the B part, and we just want to start doing and essentially, like, especially having the things that we want, right?
right.
And we were talking about my bio, and my bio it's been the same since like 2017,
Mm,
and even my picture that I have on all my websites and like everywhere, it's the same picture that I've had, it's the same bio that I've had, and I've changed a lot. I would, gosh, like really hope so, since
right.
2017. And so my homework is to write a list of who I am and who I'm becoming in
Mm,
present tense, and start interacting and spending time with that person every day. And I think sometimes like we think of environment and we think of everything external, which is important.
yeah.
Um, and we may omit to put some emphasis on the environment that we're creating within us, the things that we're thinking about and focusing on and saying to ourselves. And, we've got our scripts that we say for real estate business, and we have our scripts that we say in our life that can do that self-sabotaging and holding us back because we're afraid of growth in some ways. Like subconsciously, like we are wired for safety. We're wired for familiar. We're
Hmm.
wired for comfort. And so it's really easy. Like I'm a really good salesperson, and so I can sell myself on,
Hmm.
pretty much anything. And so I come up with some really great scripts,
Like
like to convince.
I'm not a runner. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
all the time and you're out there running with Phil and you're out there doing these things. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm good at selling myself on these scripts that keep me small or keep me familiar. And I think we all are. We're great at that. We're very convincing. You
It's
know.
it's super easy to sell ourself. We're probably the easiest person to sell.
Yeah.
I think what you said is super smart. In fact, I think I would challenge our listeners to your homework that your coach gave you. You probably paid a fair amount of money, and now our listeners are getting this for free. Like, spend
Hmm.
some time in writing out who am I? Who
Hmm.
am I, and who is that future person that I want to be? And then
Hmm.
actually maybe check that mindfulness point and spend some time with that person. Sit and what does that person look like? What did they sound like? How do they speak? What do they eat? What do they drink? What do they do? How do they show up? How do they impact other people's lives? Like that's a really, really cool assignment. And that brings up another one of her points is like when we're looking at getting out of our own way, we have to have self-awareness. And so one way you can have self-awareness is by something like tracking. You could print the 15-point plan tracker. You could track that every day. But then the next step, and like seeing somebody as high powered as Jacqueline do this as a reminder, we all could be doing this, is having a coach. Like if you want to get awareness, have a coach, pay them money so that you're highly accountable to them, and have them help you with your self-awareness. Be open and be vulnerable to find where are the places that I can grow? Who can I talk to? And hopefully that person is either doing or already done what you want to do. And have that step of self-awareness. Like I think that's super smart and having the ability to grow and get out of your own way again.
Yeah, I think I this came up in my Facebook memories. Like I always look at my Facebook memories every morning to see like what did I write about, because I've always written a lot and posted a lot. And so it's interesting reading. I mean, some of my posts I like definitely cringe. And I've heard recently that that's actually a good thing. So if you don't look back at your posts from like a couple of years ago or 5 years ago or whatever, and you don't like literally cringe, like you probably haven't grown very much.
That's right.
And one of the things I wrote though was, which I probably heard it and was quoting someone else, but it was that we have to stop looking at these certain things like a coach as a luxury. If you are wanting to do something that is mediocre or average or comfortable, absolutely, you do not need a coach. If you are wanting to do something extraordinary, if you are wanting to grow beyond your comfort zone, you will not naturally go beyond your comfort zone on your own.
It's so true.
And so to me, I think about, okay, over the last few years, like I have really made strides with my health. A big trigger point was giving up alcohol. I didn't realize like how many poor habits were tied to that habit.
Right.
And that habit alone wasn't necessarily like, I wasn't, hiding bottles in my house or having like this horrible problem. But it did impact my sleep and my hormones and my moods and my eating and my hydration, my sleep. Like it impacted so many things that once I got rid of that, like on its own, it wasn't a problem. And the web of impact that it had was a problem. I've had so many different coaches over the last 3 years. I've had coaches that helped me learn how to eat. I've had coaches that helped me learn how to work out. I've had coaches to help me with my mobility. And like, there's just been different people over the last 3 years that have helped me with various aspects, even a hormone coach. You remember Andrea Jones, she was on one of our past episodes. So hormone coach, like I've had all these people that have helped me through. And I've also had the same thing in business. Like I've had different business coaches, different personal coaches. That's who I was with before this recording was my personal coach. And to me, I think that it's a good reminder in my Facebook memories, like these are not luxuries if you want to do something extraordinary in your life. If you want to have a big impact on the people around you, on your community, on your family, then this is an investment in your greatness. It's an investment not in your greatness because for greatness sake, because it's all about you, but because when you walk in your greatness, your impact is greater. You can make ripples and you can make waves. And I don't know about you, but I want to make waves. And so for me, I have to have coaches in my life because we stay small without them.
It's so true. What did you say? Invest in your greatness? Like that needs to go on a shirt. That needs to go on a shirt. And I think that you really nailed that because, when I look at a coach, oftentimes I think of a business coach. And it is 100% clear to me that that is an investment, because we might think, oh, that's a luxury. I'm going to spend 100 or a couple $100 an hour. Okay. So you spent, let's say $200 an hour 2 times a month. So you spent $400. But if you're in real estate and that brings you one extra transaction a month, how much is that 10x? I mean, you spent $400 or $500 to sell one extra house, make an extra $5,000-10,000. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a worthy investment to me. I went and saw a coach yesterday for a physical trainer, right? Because my ankles are getting a little like overworked by all this training. And I'm thinking, dang, $160 for 90 minutes. Like, that's kind of pricey, Jacqueline. And then like we're halfway through and I'm like, this is game changing. Like, this dude specializes in ankle training. He's been doing this for 7 years. Like, I could not figure these things out on my own. He showed me all these tools and techniques, and okay, I'm going to do a monthly session between now and March. It's going to cost me $500. But guess what? Like, I have a crazy foundation for the things that hold up my whole body now.
Seriously, that's awesome. And that's like, it's another example. It's like, I know that maybe financially not everyone is in a position where they can afford to get a coach. And that's why I love what Ben Kinney, he shares, your coach doesn't always have to be one-on-one mentorship. It can be the things that you're listening to, like the podcasts and the books you're reading. So it can be a writer, it can be that for a season. And if you're in a position where maybe it is a little uncomfortable financially for you to hire someone to finally help you get your health under control this year. Like, why? Health is wealth. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And it's great to have a business coach that can help you with tactics and everything. But at the end of the day, if you're not growing as a human, if you're not healthy, if you're not working on yourself, it doesn't matter all the tactics.
Right.
And so to me, like things like therapy and personal coaching, health coaching, like to me, those things are not luxuries. I think at one point I was like, I feel like I should be able to do this myself. I should be able to just like go to the gym and eat well. And I kept on doing that, trying to do it for years and years and banging my head against the wall. And it's like, no, maybe this is the year that you decide like that is a little uncomfortable for me financially, but I promise you, investing in your health, it seems like it's not tied to your business. There's no way. I have not seen a single person that has made significant strides in their health that it hasn't translated to significant strides in their income.
100%. I mean, if you're investing in your health, you're likely going to have more energy. You're going to have more clarity. You're going to have more endurance. If you have all of those things, like, you're just going to show up at your business better. You're going to show up in your life better. And then guess what? You're going to go home and you're going to have more energy, and your partner's going to be like, wow, this is awesome. I love you even more. And then you're going to wake up even more excited. And it turns into this really incredible cycle. So, I think that's a good takeaway, is like, step number one, there's free coaching out there. It doesn't have to be expensive coaching. Step number two, let's say you're spending a couple $100. Well, guess what? Just the other day, I realized, shoot, I'm spending $12 a month for Hulu that I don't use. Kids signed up for that for the 30-day trial, and I forgot about it. So I eliminated $12 a month for that. I eliminated $8 a month for this stupid Paramount subscription that I bought while I was in France that I couldn't eliminate because it was in French and I didn't know how to do it. Turns out I just had to translate it. So there's $20 a month. Then I eliminated, I don't remember what the third one was, but it was $15 a month. So that was $40 a month that I was paying without even knowing it. Cut out a couple coffees, and now you got $100 a month. That's your coach right there. There might be ways that we can cut some things so that we can get our coach, so that we can grow, which is going to lead into our next episode, is like, why are we playing small, Jacqueline? Like, why sometimes are we playing small when we could be investing in our greatness, and we could be the wave instead of the ripple? You printed like 3 shirts for us today. We're going to do this. So stay tuned, because our next episode is going to be super exciting when we continue to talk about the mountain that we all climb within us, and how we can stop playing small and keep growing ourselves, which is going to grow everybody around us. Don't forget, you can check all past episodes at winmakegive.com. Check all of our special guests from the past. And if you want to get some more of these cool little nuggets that Jacqueline's been dropping, she does a fantastic job on social media. Follow her at Jacqueline Ray Smith. You can also follow me, Ryan Park Gregg. Until next time, everybody, thank you for listening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.